Hello there, it's Yvonne here, and I'm here to talk to you about the whole child. I'm sure you've heard this mentioned before by teachers and therapists and anyone who's going to help you with the role of parenting. But what exactly is the whole child? We cannot deal with parts of a child in isolation. We have to look at how each one affects the other. So I'm going to start by introducing you to the different areas of a child. First, we have our physical, the development of a physical person happens first. The muscles, the pushing up, the rolling over, that's what happens first. We have the emotional, where they learn to express themselves either through language or through sounds, but they have an emotion and how to express that to you. They have their intellectual, which is the brain function. That is where they take in new information from the environment, they process it, and they use it. The creative is where our children shine. This is where they have their own ideas and they apply their own logic, sometimes at fault, but they apply their own logic to new lessons they've learned. And then we have the social. This is the part you can't help them too much with, but this is their interaction with the outside world, their relationship with other people, and how they respond to that. Let's look at their physical development first. Now, bear in mind that you cannot have the rest of the development happen properly if this is not in place. With physical development, we have the muscles, we have the gross motor. This is how we explore the world. Whether it's a toddler just learning to crawl or to walk, or whether this is a teenager who needs to be able to know how strong they are by doing pull-ups or by doing push-ups. But the gross motor is how we explore our world. We learn new things. Sensory integration, a fancy word that a lot of therapists like to use, is really just how we take the world in through our senses and then put that together. And that is how we experience it. If we have a memory of a certain occasion, depending, let's say we're at a music concert, depending on where you sit in that stadium, you have a different memory. It might be the lighting that was slightly different, or the sound that was better at one part or another. But the experience is different for each person, and that is sensory integration. Fine motor is the ability to manipulate things, being able to write, being able to catch a ball, being able to string a piece of string or thread something onto that string. This is very important for creativity because this is how we show the outside world what's happening in our heads. If these are all in place, the next part of your physical development is self-confidence. This is when you're willing to take that leap, willing to try this new experience because you are confident you know how to move your body. And you're confident that you can use it to manipulate things like pencils or a rope if you need to balance on a rope. The next is our emotional development. This happens in different stages. So age 1 to 4, it's all about me. It's all about what I want and how I feel. It's appropriate at this stage for them to just express what they want without any cognizance of how it affects anyone else. Does that mean it's okay? No. But this is the part where we need to support them with how they express themselves, what's appropriate, and how a tantrum may not be appropriate. From ages 4 to 7, we're looking at how they cooperate with others, how they can manage those relationships, and how they need to behave in order to be accepted by other people. That doesn't mean they need to do certain things to fit into a clique. We need to teach them that as well. But cooperation means sharing, being on time, showing respect to other people so that you are accepted within society. Age 7 to 11, we start developing their own identity. They've formed a personality. Now they want the world to know who they are. They become much more expressive, and this is where you need to support new experiences. This is where it's really important to have the communication open so that your child can bring that experience home and process it with you so that you can help them, prepare them for what's coming next. Social development is what's coming next. Being a part of something and contributing to the world is a very important part of the needs that we need to meet. So, being able to interact with other people, man is not an island. We need to know that we're accepted and we need to know that we add value. We need to cooperate with each other so that we can be a part of a greater good, hopefully bringing value to the system that we're a part of. In order to offer their opinions or their ideas, our children need to have self confidence. They need to be confident enough to say, I believe in something and I'm going to stand for that. In order to stand for that, you need to really believe in your sense of community and the purpose that you serve in that community. This is really, I cannot emphasize this enough. If all of our children make their contribution with their value structures and their little bit to offer, our community is going to benefit. So it's our job as parents to make sure that they want to contribute to that community. Their creative development. Often parents don't see the value in this because creative is it's just something you want to express. It's a waste of time. This really isn't. Having creative abilities and a platform to express themselves gives your children the opportunity to share what's happening in their heads. If that's anxiety, it's going to come out in their creative abilities. If this is new ideas, if they're a mechanically organized brain, then they'll be able to share that through their creations, through their expressions. So this really is one of the most important things for children to do when they share their time. So if you let your children express themselves, you will have a window into where they're at and the ideas that they have. This is where they learn to solve problems, which is a critical skill that they're going to need for the jobs in the fourth industrial revolution. Cognitive development. This is where your teachers will report back to you. This is where they learn language and they learn new ideas, and we can assess that, we can test that. So from 0 to 2, your children are going through the sensory phase. Everything goes in the mouth. They're very sensitive to sounds and sometimes even scared of them. But they learn about the world by taking it in through their senses. We need to give them the experiences so that they can have those senses come in and they can process that and organize it. If our children are watching too much TV, they do not get the sensory experience. They don't get to see it, feel it, touch it, smell it. It's a second-hand experience on a screen, and they are not learning the same things from a TV that they will from getting dirty, smelling cookies baking, and touching that dough under their fingernails. From ages 2 to 7, this is where they start having an imagination. The language starts coming out so they can express the imagination. They can start telling you what they think and what they have learned. This is also where emotions are very strong, and attached to emotions is your memory. So when you smell those cookies, it reminds you of Granny, but the memories are stuck in the emotion of how much you loved Granny and how much you loved the times that you used to be there when she cooked. If we do not let our children experience life during the ages 2 to 7, if they're watching too much TV on a tablet or on cell phones, they'd lose the ability to express their imagination. They are taking in an idea that someone else has put onto a screen, not the idea they have. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Our children need to spend time being creative and expressive so that they do not take on other people's ideas and just become sheep who are watching TV. From the ages of 7 to 11, our children become aware of the world. They process what's happening in the world and they start having judgment on that. I do want to be a part of this crowd. I don't want to be a part of that crowd. I want to contribute to my neighborhood because it's important to me. And if our children are sitting in front of an electronic device, they haven't built those relationships. They haven't been able to solidify who they are and what they can contribute. So between the ages of 7 and 11 is where we're really going to get commitment from our children to contribute to society and become a very worthwhile player in their environment, whether that is being a spokesperson or if that is just helping picking up rubbish. It doesn't have to change the world, but it does need to change the world around them. From 11 years and up, our children can now solve problems. They come to us with ideas that maybe we haven't thought of. This is where they really surpass what we want our children to do. They start teaching us a lot of things that we didn't know about. Again, if our children have spent time on tablets and playing games and watching TV, they have not learned to problem solve. They haven't learned to understand the cause and effect of the world because they haven't experienced it. They've taken information in secondhand and haven't had the opportunity to explore it and experiment with it. So, I cannot emphasize enough how much it is important for children to be outside and explore with things hands on, touch them, see them, feel them, smell it, look at it, explore it, turn it over, even at the age of 11. This is according to the whole child, but please remember we're not looking for perfection here. I'm not trying to coach you into having a perfect child. I'm simply trying to teach you what our children know, which is the parts of them that need to be addressed. I want you to be aware of that so that you can support it and you can understand it and give your children what they need. If you do need help with that, if you need a bit more clarity on your child's particular needs or what area they are struggling in, contact a professional. We are out there to help you. We'll see you in the next episode.